All right, let the last few people come in and we'll go ahead and begin. And we're beginning on time this morning because this is a live stream, Open Day Live. If you're not able to make it here in the afternoon, just click on and see the rest of it through there. Welcome. Welcome to the University of Adelaide on our North Terrace campus. My name is Kent Anderson, and I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Warren Bebbington, let me welcome you to University of Adelaide. Many of you I know have been here, either as former students, former staff, just walking from that part to that part, but it's wonderful to see so many people out on such a rainy Sunday morning. Indeed, I was up talking with some friends up here a few minutes ago. My son's a year 10 student, and I thought it would be pretty good to bring him along a little bit early. And he said, "Dad, I can't be bothered. It's pretty wet out there." So I'm glad you did bother on this wet day. I also want to acknowledge that we meet on the lands of the Kaurna people. This campus, as well as our campuses at Waite, Roseworthy, and Theberton, also are on the lands of the Kaurna people, and we recognize their elders, past and present. We always say that as a bit of a formality, but it's important to take a moment and pause and do recognize our appreciation for those elders and their watching out of this land. As I said, my name is Kent Anderson. In these large venues, I always like to start off by explaining my accent. Otherwise, I worry about 95% of the time you'll be thinking, where the hell does that come from? Be forgetting to pay attention to some of what I have to say. I like to say I have a north of Queensland accent. I grew up in Alaska, but I've been privileged to be here at the University of Adelaide for the last 2 years and in Australia for the last 12 years. Tell you a little bit more about myself. I spent a lot of Sunday mornings in big Gothic buildings like this. My grandfather was a minister. And when Jit invited me to do this, I didn't quite realize that I'd be walking in at 9 a.m. to give a sermon that might never be heard. So it is wonderful to see so many people. That's a reference to the Beatles, for those of you, anyone under 45. Eleanor Rigby. Yes, thank you, the one person in the front laughing for that. Okay. Let me introduce the University of Adelaide to you. Talk just a little bit about some advice for those of you that are thinking of coming to university here at Adelaide, where we would like you to be, or any of the other universities around the country or indeed in the state. Tell you about some exciting things going on with our new vision for the next 10 years, something that we call the Beacon of Enlightenment, and then allow you to go back out in that rainy day to run from section to section. First, University of Adelaide was established in 1874. That makes it the third oldest university in Australia. And you can feel that tradition in this building. You can feel it in the building next door, Elder Conservatorium, and you can feel it in the one following that, the Mitchell Building, built in 1880, the first building on the campus. That tradition is an important part of our identity, linking to the past, remembering where we come from, remembering those who came before it. Of those who've come before us includes 5 Nobel laureates. It includes Olympians, over 100 Rhodes Scholars, over 100 Fulbright Scholars. Indeed, in addition to tradition, this university is about excellence. It is a member of the Group of 8 universities and on all of the international rankings in the top 1%. Whoops. Jit, I'm just not going to use this. In the top 1% of all universities. Presently, we have just over 25,000 students, 3,500 staff, and we are a community in and of ourselves at that size, but we also connect with the greater community here in Adelaide, in the state, in the country, and across the world. We connect through the Elder Conservatorium and its Friday afternoon concerts. We connect through Radio Adelaide and its live streaming around the world. We connect here on the North Terrace campus, but we also connect with the Roseworthy campus, with the Waite campus, with the Theberton campus, and indeed our outpost in Singapore as well. The community is as much a part of this university as the students and staff. Tradition, excellence, community. The fourth thing that we're known for is being innovative. Today you'll have an opportunity to go into Hub Central, just down the hut. Hub is something people from all over the world are coming to see, a place where students learn, interact, and engage in a new environment that's reflected in our curriculum and that's reflected in the next 10-year plan that we're just beginning to roll out, the Beacon of Enlightenment. That innovation is the innovation you'll see in the classrooms as well as the infrastructure. So that's who we are. We're about tradition, we're about excellence, we're about the community, and we're about innovation. You can see I'm also an expert in innovation when it comes to PowerPoints. Thanks, Jit. Actually, let's just leave it. We'll just leave it. So today I was supposed to talk about what is university about. I look out there and I'm actually counting more parents than students. So perhaps there's enough information in the room right now. Or indeed, if any of the students are like my son, perhaps you just need me to say it because they won't listen to me as a father. Perhaps they'll listen to me as the guy up on stage. My number one message for getting prepared for university and for coming to university is not to be passive. Much of your education up until now, you've been shepherded along. The principal, the teacher have guided you in what to do. Here are the materials you need to read. Let me have a quick look of your essay before you turn it in. Let me double check your experiment before you go in. University is different. It's a different kind of learning. You must take your independence and use that to go forward. You cannot be passive, and you must beware of being distracted. How you do that is up to you. And indeed, it is a different environment than 10, 15, 20 years ago. The IT revolution has made it different. It is possible not to go to classes. We put most of the materials online. You will be failing yourself if you do that, though. The engagement you get with your lecturers, with your classmates, with your friends, are the stories that you'll remember. That is where the learning will come in. I encourage you to meet people. Meet people beyond your current group of friends from your current high school or your current workplace. Put yourself in those awkward situations where you're having to work with new people, hopefully in the hub, in the new groups, and engage. Engage with the material. Engage with the opportunity. University presents these enormous opportunities to do all of those crazy things you've never had a chance to do before. The rock climbing club, the tea club, whatever else it might be. This is the opportunity to do it. This is the chance for you to take. If you don't take it now, when will you? That is the number one message. And it's a fantastic time to be joining the university coming in 2014. We have a new Vice Chancellor, Professor Warren Bebbington, leading a new executive team, leading a new vision about where the university can go. As I've already mentioned, we have this 10-year plan, and the 10-year plan, core to its being, is the experience that you'll have. First, we're tripling our IT investment. The entire campus is already linked up with free Wi-Fi, but we're tripling the amount of access that you'll have and how you can use that. And we're also going back to that tradition that I began with what we call small group discovery experience. Most universities in Australia today have classrooms with lectures of 300, 400, 500 students. This university is making a commitment to go back to those small group discovery experience where you can meet your lecturer, you can meet your colleagues, your classmates, and you can experience a more personalized education. A third element of the beacon of enlightenment for you, this entering class, is the opportunity to study abroad or take internships available for all students. Because learning doesn't just happen here on North Terrace. Learning happens across the street, in the community, in the workplace. Learning happens by getting on an airplane and going to our Singapore campus or going to one of the 150 exchange partners that we have around the world. Those are the kind of opportunities that await by making the choice to come to University of Adelaide. Now, Jit's going to be very worried because I said I was going to talk for 15 minutes and then give you 15 minutes for questions, and I think that's right about where we were. I can talk more about the experience, but I'm much more keen to have you engage today, have you engage through questions, concerns. And we'll make a parent make the first question because the students will, of course, follow rapidly behind. Any questions? Yep. Yep, fantastic. So the question was, small group discovery experience, what does that mean? The real challenge in Australia today is that we've expanded higher education so that most classes are quite large. So it's about going back to a smaller group experience. So while you might be in a large class, how you break down that class to have engagement with a lecturer. Small group is defined, depends on the discipline, so anywhere from 20 to 30 students. And then the engagement is not just rote learning or just sitting down passively listening, but engaging with your classmates and engaging with your lecturers in discovery. The real emphasis there is discovery. As a Group of 8 research-intensive university, we deeply believe in going out and finding the answers rather than having them told to you. And that's what the small group discovery experience is about. Other questions? Yep, in the back, just yell it out. So the university is comprised of 5 different faculties, roughly engineering, computer science, and mathematics, the professions, which is the business school, law school, architecture, education, faculty of humanities, social science, faculties of science, and faculties of health science. Each one of those faculties and each one of those disciplines will approach internship differently. What we're committed to is committed to providing the opportunity to do that. In many cases, that will be facilitating the connections. In other cases, it will be getting credit for students who are going out and finding those opportunities themselves. So a little bit of a dodge in my answer. It depends on where you're studying. The placement by the university is competitive, but on the other hand, we're very keen to help you get credit for your work experience that you're doing outside that leads towards your education. Yes? So with the information technology that we have, the access to professors is much more so than when I was a student and you had to wait around for office hours. That being said, if you have 200 or 300, that is a very high ratio. So with the combination between the tutors and the lecturers, the access is there. Part of what we're doing with putting more information online is trying to create more space for the lecturers to have that one-on-one engagement. What I deeply, deeply encourage each of you to do, though, is you have to take the initiative. It's not like high school where if you don't turn in your subject, the principal's ringing up or the school teacher's ringing up. You've got to take the initiative to make that contact. Other questions? It's much too wet out there to allow me to send you back into the rain. Yep, in the far back, shut it out. So wonderful question. The question is about you don't know quite what you want to do. Today's a lot about that. As you walk around today, you'll find different options and different things you can do. There was a recent survey of Generation Y. Many of you come from Gen Y. And the number one thing it said they wanted to do with their future was keep their options open. So indeed, I think today is about looking at the options that are there and testing out where you want to do. Many of the people around will give you the variety of options available for the different pathways that you can take. Other questions? It's very cold outside. I don't think the coffee's ready. You sure you want me to send you back out there? Yes? Wonderful. The question from the front is, what is my personal advice from future uni students? And my personal advice is the advice I gave in the talk, which is to seize the opportunity and not be passive. So there's all of this presented in front of you. You also have the option of sitting at home and watching television, hanging out with your best mates from high school, doing 70 hours of part-time work. Those are options. What I encourage you to do is take the option of spending these few years at university and sacrificing a bit of that other stuff while you're here for that purpose. Last opportunity, last question. Yep, in the far back. Shout it out. So the question was about, I didn't get all of it, but I think I got most of it. The question was about the international exchange opportunities and the 150 partners. Every single faculty and every single degree we have has an opportunity for study abroad. Where that is and how that's placed is slightly different by discipline. We also cover almost every country in the world with 150 partners. Overwhelmingly right now, our students are going to the United Kingdom, the United States, and China, as a matter of fact. Opportunities in all disciplines. So we have engineers, we have doctors, we have lawyers, we have arts students, we have science students taking up these opportunities. What I strongly encourage, if you are interested in that, is thinking about it today, because you need to plan that in your degree so that you have the space and the opportunity for doing it in the future. Yes? Yes. The question is about transferring between degrees. Indeed, you can transfer between degrees, and indeed, your coming in marks and your marks on the degree one are both taken into consideration for the transfer. Transfers are allowed, but also recognize that if you do a whole bunch of things in one degree, those might not be recognized for your compulsory subjects in another degree. So transferring can set you back in completion on time. But again, with this, keep your option open. It is a good thing to consider. And a good thing, if you're thinking about that, to plan so that you can get as much credit if you do transfer down the track. Last question, then I'm going to close it off. Yes, please. Ultimate Frisbee, I'm pretty sure we do. Yes, we do have an Ultimate Frisbee team. There you go, just one happy soul. I think our Quidditch team is not in place yet, though. So indeed, if you want an opportunity, taking an opportunity to set up the Quidditch team is quite important, and we have a wonderful lawn for it just downstairs. Thank you very much for coming today. Really enjoyed seeing you. There's an amazing amount of things out there. Keep an open mind. have fun, and try to stay dry. Thank you very much.